Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, and it's none other than uh, phonology. Okay, so we have this is a branch of phonetics. So phonology is something that is being learned under this section called phonetics. And what is phonology and how is it different from phonetics is what we are going to talk about right now. So what is phonology basically? Phonology is the study of okay. So I was just trying to find out before talking about what phonology is. Okay, I'll just define what is phonology, and then these are the different topics that we are going to talk about in this section. What is phonology, it's the phonemic is the other term that is being used with that is usually substituted for phonology. Then you have is phoneme. What is a phoneme? What are minimal pairs, and what do you mean by allophones? And of course, what do you mean by homonyms? So these are things that we'll be going to talk about in this particular section. So what do you mean by phonology? So phonology is nothing else but the study of the arrangement of speech sounds in each language. Okay, and the study of sound structure of language is divided into two parts. One is the phonetics and other one is phonology. Okay, so if phonetics is what is phonetics basically? Phonetics is nothing else but it's a branch of linguistics that focuses on the production and classification of the world's speech sounds, whereas phonology is quite different. Phonology is nothing else but it's actually concerned with the selection and organization of speech sounds or phonemes in a language. Okay, so that is the difference between phonetics and phonology. Phonetics is the way of art. It's the science of understanding the way of articulation of the sounds, how the sounds are being produced and all those things, whereas phonology is concerned with the way in which the sounds are being selected and organized in a language. So that is the difference between phonology and phonology and phonetics. Now in different subjects, in different languages, you have the arrangement of sounds being different. Alright, for instance, if you take up the phoneme ng, it never occurs initially in the words of English language, right? You don't have a start with Nyatuvela is something that is used in Malayalam, but you can't find a word which starts with ng in English language. Alright, similarly, if you take up the sound called okay, spin, okay, spear and all, you can't find such a kind of combination being worked at the end of a particular. In most of the languages, you can't find such a kind of combination in the wasp. Okay, and all wasp is a combination of word where you cannot find such a kind of word in Malayalam which ends with spur. Okay, spur. You can't find a kind of combination like that. So these are different kinds of examples which I'm trying to cite. Or you take up the sound called ra. Okay, ra is a sound which is not at all found in English language. You can find. So these are different things that you learn under phonology. Alright, deals with the distinctive sounds and the specific patterning, and the term which is again substituted for phonology is phonemics. Alright, and phonemics deals with it's actually a technique for reducing language to writing. So these are the things that you have to keep in mind with regarding to phonology. What is phonology? The study of the arrangement of speech sounds in each language. It deals with the distinctive sounds and the specific patterning, and phonemics or otherwise phonology is a technique for reducing language to writing. So these are things that you have to keep in mind when you are talking about phonology. Alright. So next we are going to talk about a phoneme. So what do you mean by phoneme? Alright. So a phoneme is the smallest contrastive linguistic unit which may bring about a change in meaning. It is the smallest sound unit that can bring about a change in meaning. If you replace one phoneme with another, it gives you a different meaning. So that is what is called as a phoneme. For example, if you take up the word call, or if you take up the sound called the p, okay, in pill, okay. Now if you substitute p with any other sounds like k or h or t or m or s, right, or b, then you have is g, Okay, it gives you a different word with a different meaning, right? You take a pill, you substitute per with k, you have kill, hill, till, mill, gill, sill, right? Then you have is nil, is another sound that you can create. So this is what is. So what do you mean by phoneme? The per sound, the k sound, the her sound are all acting as what? They are examples for what? Phonemes. Okay, because that single sound is able to give you a different, substitution of that particular sound is able to give you a what? Give you a different word. So that is what is called with a different meaning. So that is what is called as a phoneme. If you take up this example here, you can see that each of these words have an initial sound different from the initial sound of each other word. Okay, so thus the initial sounds in the words are meaningful units of sound. That's why you have p as a phoneme. Now, if you take up this one, this is something again quite different. Minimal pairs. Now, what do you mean by minimal pairs? Minimal pairs are two words which differ only in one phoneme are called as a minimal pair. These are the two words. The most is just like probably saying lowest common factor, right? LCM, right? You have heard of it. What is it? It's the lowest possible number that can help you to come up with a multiple. The lowest common multiple of a particular combination is what called as the LCM. Likewise, minimal pair is the most minimal combination of words that can bring about change. Alright, so that's meant by minimal. Two words which differ only in one phoneme, just in one. For example, if you take up pill, bill, alright, or you take up cool, pool, alright, or you take up get, wet. Okay, so these are the words, these are examples for what? These are examples for minimal pairs where g and w are actually a pair with one particular sound being different. Okay. Potta kotta, that's an example for what? Minimal pair. Okay. Chatti tatti, that is an example for minimal pair. You have the ch sound and t sound. Okay, so this is what is called as a minimal pair. Minimal pairs are actually two words which differ only in one phoneme and are usually called two words which differ only in one phoneme are usually called a minimal pair. Minimal pairs are very useful in identifying the phonemes of a language. For instance, if we substitute k in cool with p, we get pool, which is example for again what? A minimal pair. So that is briefly about minimal pair. Hope it's understood for you. Hope it's clear for you. Next we are moving on to something that's really important. It's none other than allophones. Now what do you mean by allophones? Allophones are variants of the same phoneme. One sound in there, or of the same sound, you have different versions of one particular phoneme is what is called as allophones. Okay, the sound is same but different variations of the same sound. Just like you have, for example, you could talk about the r sound, right? You have the trill and roll. It's not an allophone, but I don't know whether it's being categorized as allophone. But likewise, you have different versions of one particular sound being created. Now that is what is called as allophones, right? The different concrete phonetic variation of the same phoneme. This is what is being quoted in the text. The different concrete phonetic variation of the same phoneme is what is called as an allophone. Okay, allophones occur in the same linguistic environment and do not bring about a change in meaning. Okay, they do not bring about. They are usually seen in the same language, same linguistic environment, but they do not bring about a change in meaning. Instead, there is a variation in the way in which it is being pronounced or articulated. For example, you take up the dark L and clear L, or the aspirated K or the unaspirated K. These are examples. Alright, if you take up what is meant by dark L, it might be asked for examination. What is the difference? What is meant by dark L and how it is different from clear L? Okay, now the former is actually a kind of dark L is something that is being you can say whether it's kind of yes. So the dark L is something that is being velarized, whereas the clear L is something that is palatalized. Okay. So during the production of the clear L, the front of the tongue is raised in the direction of the hard palate. So that's why it is being said as what? It is something that is being palatalized. Whereas in the case of dark L, you have the back of the tongue hitting the soft palate, the velum area, and that is why it is called as the That's why it's called as dark L, or it is considered to be velarized. Aspirated means sometimes your aspiration, you take an extra in a breath, k, okay. The other one is k and the other one is k. That is the different variations that you have with particular sound of allophones. All right. So this is what is meant by allophone. They are nothing else but the variants of the same phoneme or a sound in a different variants in allophones. And then you have it's been quoted in text as a different concrete phonetic variation of the same phoneme. Okay, it occurs in the same linguistic environment. Linguistic means the language environment, and there is no change in meaning brought about by the word. If you take this word called kill and kill, they have the same meaning. Kill doesn't have a different meaning. Kill and kill have the same meaning. Okay, if you take up the l sound, okay, for example, you take up lion and lion, okay, they can mean the same thing. It's the same simham there. Okay, that doesn't change. Okay, so that is meant by allophones. All right, hope it's clear. Or you take up this term called uh, what can I say, puya and pura. But it cannot be seen as an example for allophone. But definitely the sound, for example, take a kaka and kaka. Okay, this an aspirated version. But what I'm trying to say is that these are different variations which are brought about in language that can help you identify what allophones are. Okay, so hope it's clear for you in allophones. Next, we are moving on to the next topic, homonyms. What are homonyms? Now, homonyms are actually having a this is how it would be better to identify as. Homonyms are actually two or more words having the same spelling or pronunciation, but different meanings and its origins. So this is what basically homonyms stand for. You can subdivide homonyms into with the same sound and meaning. It's what homo means, almost same. Okay. So homogenization is something where you have all types of molecules being put into the same manner. Okay, that's when my homogenization. So of the same content. Okay, so homonyms can be divided into two. One is called where is it? Yeah, one is homographs and the other one is homophones. Now, what is the difference between homographs and homophones?